All right, everyone, we have goalkeeper Aubrey Kingsbury off her 30th career regular season clean sheet. Jason, go ahead and kick us off.
Hi, Aubrey. Thanks for speaking with us tonight.
Yeah, hey, Jason.
Wanted to ask first, this seemed like maybe a tricky game to get through those first. You obviously you probably knew that there was going to be the first 15 minutes, a lot of pressure, a lot of energy from them. It seemed like it was also maybe tactically challenging. I was wondering what you saw playing out in terms of finding your way through that phase of the game and then maybe progressing in the last, hour, really.
Yeah, at the beginning, they did a good job pressing high, especially Veronica Latsko was coming in from the wing, and we were breaking that initial first line, but this weren't showing in the right spaces. So at halftime, we looked at some clips, made adjustments, and did much better in the second half. We're able to control the game, but also credit to Seattle, the environment. I think it was just a little bit of maybe nerves or just needing a minute to get into the game. So, yeah, it was great crowd, 34,000, of course. So, just took a bit to calm down and play our game.
Speaking of that, I mean, obviously it's a pretty massive occasion for Megan Rapinoe, for the league, and also there's so much on the line for both of the teams. I was wondering, as a veteran player, how do you think the group did sort of managing the emotions of it from, towards the end, it seemed like you were closer to getting the winner than they were.
Yeah, we had some great chances. I'm not sure how either of Trinity's didn't go in or Dorian's. So credit to their keeper, Claudia Dickey. I think she came up with some worldies there at the end to save the point for them. But yeah, this was a massive occasion, not only because it's Megan Rapinoe's last home game in a massive crowd breaking the NWSL record attendance, but it's the second to last game of the year. We're neck and neck in the standings. So this was very much not a must win, but of course, like we know, like 3 points would put us in a great spot. So we were pushing at the end, definitely didn't give up, and was proud of the way we kind of progressed through the game, and really we're on the top at the end. So I think we have a lot to look forward to. We've definitely been building these last couple matches, and I think going into this last game, it looks like it's a win we're in kind of situation, which is, what we could hope for and ask for. So yeah, overall, really proud of the performance. They did great to get a point out of it. I thought they kind of stole it at the end there. But yeah, we're peaking at the right time, and that's super important in this league.
Appreciate it, Aubrey. I'll pass the mic here.
Jose, go ahead.
Hey, Aubrey. Thanks for speaking with us.
Yeah, of course.
You kind of mentioned there about the playoff race. What's the feeling like in the locker room? Despite getting the scoreless draw, and what improvements and do you think need to be done for that home match, the home finale, to secure that playoff spot?
I think overall we're happy with the point. Of course, we want more, but on the road in this environment, playing the Reign, they're a quality opponent. They're always organized. They've got great veteran leaders. So we'll take it. Of course, again, like I was saying, we had our chances to win. So we'll look at that. We'll look back at film and see how we can improve going into the match against North Carolina. Ultimately, it's great to be back at Audi for our last game. But to get a shutout, it's been a minute since we got one of those. So I'm very happy with our defensive performance. And I think just the overall mood is really positive, especially after we snapped our long winless streak against Kansas City, to show we could come back, win that game, come here, get a point. And now we've got this game at home against North Carolina to look forward to. We'll get back. We'll have a good week of preparation, get some rest. And I think, yeah, we'll be ready to go for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, go ahead.
Hey, Aubrey, thanks for speaking with us. Wanted to get some clarity, perhaps, if you have it. You mentioned that you had the you're kind of in a good run now with results and, of course, getting a clean sheet, getting your first win in a while. What do you think changed?
Well, coming back from the World Cup, we added 2 French players, Anna and Ule, and we changed our formation over the summer from a 4-4-2 to a 4-2-3-1 of sorts, or 4-4-3-3. So we kind of had to learn a bit of the new tactical structure, new principles. So there definitely were some structural changes, and with those new players being integrated into the lineup, it's learning to connect with them. You know, we've got Hatchie Central now, and Trend coming a little wider and sometimes lower, and just getting everyone caught up to speed, and just the new press. And so yeah, we definitely implemented some changes, and I think it took a while for us to build those relationships and to understand how to play with each other. Maybe in the past we kind of forced things a bit too much, we're too direct, but I think across our front 4 players, they're linking up a lot better now. We still can be direct. We've got some really pacey players up top and are always dangerous, always threatening. But I think having the double sixes, having Paige and Andy playing next to each other, it's given us a little bit more possession. So I think we're adding a little bit more quality in our build, being a little bit more patient, looking for the best opportunities, not just any opportunity. And hopefully it'll continue to pay off down the line. But yeah, I'm proud of the efforts we've put together, and I think everyone's starting to click a little bit more.
Appreciate it, and thank you for that answer. I
Mhm.
also had a question for you to get your reaction to this. I don't know if you saw it post game. The league tweeted that you are the 6th keeper in NWSL history with 30 regular season shutouts. So did you
Nice.
know that first? And if not, your reaction?
I did know because probably, I don't know, April, May, our communications guy, Sam Pittman, who you all deal with, told me I had 29. And I'm like, Sam, I wish you didn't tell me that. Because I don't like to know about records unless like I'll really, really hit them, you know, like, oh, if you start next game, it's 100. I can deal with that. But I joked for the past couple months that he's jinxed me. So I'm very grateful to finally get 30 and put that behind us. Yeah, it's been a great year. I don't think statistically our defense has gotten the credit for how solid they've been. We've given up a lot of penalties, which honestly, some are just really unfortunate. Just kind of how it is with implementing VAR, and yeah, I haven't been saving them either. So but if you look at the types of chances we're giving up, like they're very low quality. So overall, I've been very, very happy with the way this team has defended, and I'm happy for us to get a shutout and hopefully get some recognition because, yeah, it hasn't really shown, but it's been a massive improvement from last year, and I'm very proud of them.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And appreciate you letting
Yeah.
us know that it was Sam who jinxed you.
Yeah, he's not allowed to tell me anything else. We've had a stern talk.
Congrats on the clean sheet, and
Thank you,
have a good trip home.
Thanks.
I've learned my lesson. Peyton, go ahead.
Hi, Aubrey. Just looking at that big picture, as you mentioned, from beginning of the season to now, and having Tara come into that center back role, I was wondering, she looked like she had a great game tonight. If you could speak to that and kind of how this defense has come together to this point in the season and going into this North Carolina game.
Yeah, Tara's had a great season. It's more than tonight. She's a very physical player, very fast, and has just fit in seamlessly. I've been very impressed with her position and just her ability to read the game. She came from being a forward to the back, and you would have never guessed that. Yeah, she's to be a forward. So I think credit to her, credit to our staff. She's been a solid addition to our back line. Her and Sam have worked together really well and formed a good partnership. So yeah, she was a hidden gem of this season. Wasn't sure in the off season. I'm like, are we going to get any defenders? when they put out the roster, it's like, where's the defenders? But yeah, that was kind of the plan all along. And I know she had some tough times in the preseason. That's not necessarily what any player wants to hear, like, oh, hey, we're going to make you a defender, because she was a really good forward, was a massive part of our, front line that won the NWSL championship in 2021. But she's persevered, and yeah, she's great. It's a pleasure to play with her back there, and I'm looking forward to see her grow. She's still so young and has an incredible career ahead of her.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aubrey. We will have Andy Sullivan
Yeah,
next.
thank you, guys.
All right, we have midfielder Andy Sullivan. Jason, go ahead and kick us off.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for speaking with us tonight. I guess I wanted to start. I asked Aubrey a little bit about this, about playing your way into the game. The first 15 seemed very difficult, not just from them having so much emotion in the game, but also tactically, it seemed like there were some problems to solve. What were you seeing in terms of sort of playing your way through their pressure, their emotion, kind of the whole thing, and sort of, yeah, as the game wore on, getting better, it seemed like, from afar anyway?
Yeah, one of the first plays of the game was, maybe I'm not remembering this wrong, but there was a really strong combination and attack from Trent and Sanchez, and it was really clean, and it was in our attacking third. So from that moment, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good game. And I think the incredible thing, sorry if I sound like my voice is shaking, I'm very cold. The incredible thing about this team is I never count us out. Like, I am never worried about us like weathering storms, and like even if we go down, it's no worries. So I think that yes, they presented us some tactical problems and they had this edge of emotion and things like that. But I'm never like, oh, we're in over our heads or this is too much. And I think that the team as a whole is very good at like staying steady and persevering through all that. So I think, like you said, as the game wore on, I think halftime, getting to halftime, clean sheet, and being able to regroup and make some adjustments and reset really helped us. And then just getting more and more chances in the second half really helped us build our confidence and get a lot of chances. So
you can put the jacket on if you'd like. I don't want you to sit there and be cold.
I'm just like very sweaty.
We gotta talk to Lumen Field about it's drafty or something. I don't know.
No, it's just all sweat. Okay. Thanks, Sam.
Speaking of, Lumen Field, this is obviously a pretty massive occasion away, for the standings, for the teams battling for the playoffs. You also have, it's potentially Rapinoe's last home game. I know you've spent some time with her, playing against her, etc. Are there any big takeaways you feel like are worthy of sharing, or maybe that you can share, since I know there's probably some stuff that probably happened with her, some jokes that maybe aren't press conference friendly?
Yeah. Wow, it's really hard to talk about Pino because you could talk about so many different things. She has so many different strengths, and like you said, I have so many memories with her and so many different kinds of memories with her. And I think as I've been fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of her celebrations lately, the amount of people that she's been able to make feel special isn't insane. And I think when you see her impact on the world on a global scale, you must think oh, she's this big celebrity, and which she is, and she has this weight, but the way that she is able to still connect with every individual that she meets and make that person feel like she just has this warmth about her. But that's not even the thing that people think about most about her, right? They think about her humor and her boldness and her courage and her activism and her swag. She has so many different things. But she's so consistently such an amazing person, in just how she treats everybody. Yeah, and I was actually talking to a family friend the other day, because they had told me that someone they knew tore their ACL, and I had a flashback to when I tore my ACL, and I was one of the first people that reached out to me when I did that was Pino, and I had only played on the national team for a month when that happened to me, and I think I only played with her for a game or two, and she reached out to me right away, and I reached out to her later for advice, and when I came back to the national team, I was still obviously very intimidated by her, and somehow I ended up to be her roommate. And it was, I think, my first year as a professional, and I was telling her about how I was adjusting to being a pro, and I said something about cooking dinner, and she was like, "Oh, I'll send you recipes that Sue and I make all the time." And she hand typed recipes, so it was a very informal type, which made it even more humorous in how she did it. But things like that. She's busy conquering the world and making it a better place, but she still has the time to send me her homemade recipes, hand typed in how she does it. So again, I can just ramble on and on like that for a really long time. And I'm sure every single person you ask about Pino has a lot of stories like that. So I think that's what makes her so incredible.
Appreciate it. I'll pass the mic here.
Andre, go ahead.
Hey, Andy, thanks for speaking with us. And really, just to kind of piggyback on Jason's last question, how much of Rapinoe's closing ceremony were you able to see?
Yeah, we were in the back, so we were seeing it, but it was a little hard to hear.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It sounds different on the field versus in the stands.
Yeah. No worries. Okay, I wanted to get back to talking about the Spirit. This was the first clean sheet in a while. You also had recently your first regular season win in a while. I talked to Aubrey Kingsbury just a second ago and asked her what changed. So I think I want to ask you the same question, because it looks like the team is, as Aubrey said, peaking at the right time, and it looks that way as well from our vantage point with the performances. So what has changed with the team?
That is a very good question. What has changed? I think it kind of ties back to what I said earlier about weathering storms. And I think as we've seen in this league, the tables are tight, or the table is tight, and there are going to be storms. And so even when we were not getting shutouts or not getting the results that we wanted, the team still has this really good attitude of working through things and believing that there's good on the other side. And I think, so I wouldn't say that a lot has changed too much. I'm trying to think about like when we kind of changed formations, because I feel like that happened while we were away. So that has been a change. So maybe that also has something to do with it, like the change in formation and getting a little bit more confident and a little more in sync on that front has helped, especially with like the integration of new players as well. So yeah, I would just maybe say that. I don't know if I answered that question very well.
You did. It's all good. And actually, I wanted to talk about the midfield. The change in formation.
Okay.
It looks like 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, depending on certain phases, I suppose. But you do have that you're typically next to Paige Mateer, but it also seems like you're having you're able to be a bit more expansive in your passing and where you position yourself from time to time. So how is that relationship developing in terms of who goes up and who doesn't and all of that? Like, how's that coming together?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed playing in the diamond. I thought that was really fun, but I think, like you said, in the diamond, when you're the 6, there's a little less fluidity in your movement. You have to be a little bit more disciplined. So I think this shape has allowed me and Paige to work more in unison. And Paige, man, she's killing it. And it's so fun to play with Paige because she's just steady. And very easy to communicate with. And I've been, really pushing her to communicate more with me. And I feel like that's something that's been happening a lot now that we're in this shape. So I'm like having a more like direct relationship with her. And it's been really, really fun. And yeah, just like kind of working more in tandem, and we're just like working off each other a little bit more. And I think that also provides more options in the build out. And hopefully more options in attack as well for people to kind of float in around off us.
Yeah, appreciate that. And thank you for your answers. It's hard. I always ask you questions that make you think so much.
And Peyton, we have time for one more.
There we go. Sorry. Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Listening to you answer these questions is really taking me back to preseason when you were talking about kind of like the midfield group coming together and communication and finding the roles. So it sounds very positive that you've kind of achieved those goals that you had set out at the beginning of the season as we kind of wrap things up. With 1 week left, how are you feeling? I know Mark mentioned that you were kind of like specifically working on like load management with travel and everything. But how are you feeling, and how do you feel that the team is doing moving into this last week?
The Spirit has been doing a really good job of managing my load. And not just my load, but everyone's load. And I think that manifests itself in how we train during the week, where depending on your minutes or your travel or your how you're feeling, whatever it may be, like the session is different for you. And I think that is huge. And also that you have a role in that as a player. It's not just like medical is great at making recommendations. But also if you think you need more or you think you need less, that's always a conversation. So I'm very grateful for that, because I think the fact that I'm like in one piece at this point in the season is pretty good. So yeah, and again, that's not just for me, that's for a lot of people as well. So yeah, and I think that's the fact that I look at our starting 11, I look at our bench, I look at players who aren't even making our roster, and we're available, and players coming in and making a difference. It gives you a lot of excitement about going into the last week of the season, right? Like, oh, we're stacked, and it's the last week of the season, and we have this push. So it gives me a lot of like pride and excitement about the team. I think I'm frozen. Oh no, did I freeze?
Thank you. I think
Okay,
I froze.
we're good.
No, but that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everybody. We will be back to wrap up with head coach Mark Parsons.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Mark. Visuals getting a little rough, but the audio is coming through.
Well, lucky you guys. You got the good side of me.
Jason, go ahead.
Good thing. Thanks, Sam. Mark, thanks for speaking with us. Wanted to ask about the early stages of the game. It seemed maybe difficult to sort out. It seemed like there was a break in play. You got to change some things that the broadcast showed you, trying to speak with the players. What were you working through to sort of help? I think over the last hour, you maybe had the better of it. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, the first 15, 20 minutes was very difficult. We didn't get pressure on the ball. We also didn't keep them one side of the pitch, and then we couldn't find the free player or create the free player. They were in the pressing structure of Rain. There was situations to take advantage of and 2v1s in certain areas, but we weren't able to do that. And you're dealing with a Rain team that are, I think their best period in this game was going to be the first half hour. They had a hard game on Sunday. They played 45 minutes with 10. It's an emotional game. That first half hour was going to be the best to them, and to come out 0-0 I thought was really important. Half time, we adjusted the press. We I think made it more effective, and it's just not too many details, but just with knowing what they decided to do. Fishlock was in the game too much in the first half. She wasn't in the game in the second half, and the way we pressed kept her out of it. And then build up was much better. We were a constant threat on set pieces throughout the night. We ended up building up and having chances from build up as well. It was an intense game, amazing atmosphere, and yeah, of course we want to win, and we had some great chances near the end. But a point on the road in this type of atmosphere, I'm just very proud of the team. They've done it again in a tough environment against a team that had to win. We wanted to win tonight. We know how hard next week is, but we couldn't lose, and we come to a hard place and create the best chances of the game and finish the game the stronger team in the second half.
You mentioned the occasion, the crowd, and everything. Obviously, you're playing on a tricky surface. Like you said, a desperate opponent. You've coached in some games like that. Some of your veteran players have played in some games like that, but you've got some players who maybe haven't seen that before. How do you think they, on an individual level, maybe navigated that side of the game?
I think they did a great job. I'm very proud. I would say that 2-3 months ago, I don't know if we were quite ready for big games, and we got a lot of new players to the league, to the big game, to this playoff picture that haven't been in this type of situation. And tonight, Paige Mattea in the midfield, I thought was outstanding. Andy, her and Sanchez did a tremendous job. And Tara Micchione again with Sam, Gabby and Anna. That was Anna's best game. Pino was not in the game. She wasn't there before, during the whistle. Anna just did a great job. And Trin, she is on a roll. She is on a roll. She is at a level that we hadn't seen before, and she combined to create chances. She was individual to create chances. Really, really happy with how she was so dangerous throughout the whole game when we were on top, but also when we weren't on top. She found a way to be effective, and I told the team after, you have to be playing the soccer we're playing last week. This week we have to be in this rhythm by now, and we are. And we weren't there 2 months ago. We are now, and it's a great place to be when the most important part of the season is about to come.
Thanks, Mark. Pass the mic here.
Thank you.
I'm not seeing any other hands. Do we have any more questions for Mark? There you go, Andre.
Andre,
appreciate it. Congrats on the clean sheet as well. I think, when we've been talking to Andy and been talking to Aubrey, there's this recognition that the team is kind of building and hitting a good stride right now, especially with some of the new players getting integrated. But Andy also spoke about how the Spirit are doing such a great job managing her load. Like she said, she feels like she's in one piece this part of the season. How has that been, and has that been integral to be able to continue to build in terms of the performances at this stage of the season?
Yeah, our staff do a tremendous job. I think we have every gadget and resource available to try and take care of players, but it often comes down to the basics. Paige Mateo was also tremendous. Her and Andy. Andy's running on fumes at this point of the year because she's played so much football and so critical. And Paige Mateo is not used to a 3-month season, and she chased everyone down tonight. So when I say come back to the basics, we've really taken care of them over the last 2-3 weeks. They're in the things that are critical to be in, and they're not in the things that aren't critical. And game day is the highest priority to regain, to keep freshness. And Salem doesn't like to throw too many compliments my way because she likes to keep me grounded. But something she's repeated a lot is in the 5 years that I worked with her, she always felt fresh going into game day. And for me, it's the starting principle. We have to train and prepare, but game day is a place where everyone should get at their best. And the quality of our staff, the way that they are working together is very important. And I'm happy to hear Andy felt that way. And we have to do another good job with her and everyone else this week as we big up for a massive home game.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peyton, go ahead.
Hi, Mark. With what Andy was saying, and kind of Aubrey hinted at it as well, the fluidity that's coming as the defense is coming together. Aubrey talked to us about how Tara has been doing and just how smoothly she's come into that position that you've kind of placed her in on that back line. What at this point in the season, as you're coming to the end, else is there to achieve in the sense of the team working together, getting to that place that you kept telling us that you were going to get there? Are you there even with the changes that you've implemented, or are we still waiting for next week?
No, I think it's in the context of the whole year. We had a rough couple of weeks, and we've really, really found a way to stick to our strengths and climb out of that. And the last 2 games, it's been really impressive. We're a goalkeeper save, an incredible save away from walking away 3 points on a night like this, and we created the best chances of the game. I'm really happy how we managed to stay in the first half an hour, because that was scary, and then take over in the end in creating the best chances. And we're a long way from where we will be. And right now, the context of this season is we are in a good place now. Next week, we need to be a step better, like we were from last week to this week. And if we are a step better and we are defending the way we did tonight, and we're improving our attack like we improved tonight, as a tough defensively, Reign a very hard team, and we found ways to manipulate them in the second half and get into areas we wanted to get in. We can take another step there, then we'll be better. And when I say we're not nowhere near, I wish we had another 6 months to try and make the playoffs. But we got 1 game left, and we can take one more step forward. And this year is absolutely about fighting for trophies, but it's about digging so deep with our foundation that we're going to be able to weather any storm in the future and make sure this team can be a top team fighting for trophies every year, without losing sight of the short term. So keep growing, keep moving. We're heading in a great direction at a great time, but we got a long way to go to be the team that we know we can be. And that never ends. You'll never hear me say we got there, but we're moving in the right direction.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate
We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Take care.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Feedback.